Hey everybody, and welcome to Face to Face Gaming Podcast episode 38. My name is Thompson. Joining me this week, I've got Alex Orr.
Yo, folks, it's me again. Sorry I missed last week. And by sorry, I mean I wasn't expecting a podcast on a Monday, so I didn't bother to come.
Yeah, that happens. And then Michael Vance.
Hey, it's Michael Vance. That's me.
That is you.
That was just like 6 different racial stereotypes.
It's me, Michael Vance. All right. Glad we're getting off on the good foot.
Yeah, we're starting off quite nicely. That's pretty awesome.
As we are wont to do.
As the legend foretold. Anyway, video games. We've played them. We played some of them. And
I hope somebody's played some.
I've played some. They're
Okay.
not new, but I played them.
oh my god. So I'm looking at like the replay and I was like pointing at your faces, but it's actually mirrored, so they're actually over here. But anyway, whatever. GG. So, Alex, you haven't been playing much.
No, I've been playing very little. I've been playing Learn How to Properly Construct a Plate of Calamari.
Ah, yes, that
Which
is
is-
a thing.
Not to say I've been playing Cooking Mama, although I was playing Cooking Mama earlier, late last year, which was very good.
So I've heard. I've heard it's very good.
It's very good. Sorry, Vance, what was that?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say I've never played a single Cooking Mama game. Are they worth it?
Yeah. I've played it on my Nexus 7. It's a very good kind of tablet game. It's a bit too UI heavy for a phone, I feel, at least as far as my iPhone 6 is concerned. It's a bit too big thumbs, big fingers.
6 or 6S? Or sorry, 6 or 6 Plus?
Sorry, 5. I'm not cool enough to have a 6. 5.
Okay.
5S. But yeah, I've been playing on my Nexus. It's also available on PC, and I haven't tried that, though I imagine it would work quite well with a mouse interface. Actually, I think it's shortcutted on PC, now that I think about it. That's really irrelevant, though. It's good. If you got a tablet, it's like $6 or something on whatever app store you have access to. That's really not what I've been playing, though, considering I haven't touched that in a month and a half, probably. Mostly, I've just been playing, in the past, like, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've played maybe 5 hours of Hearthstone. That's, like, the entirety of my gaming right now.
It's a good amount. It's a good gaming choice.
It is a good game. I was actually playing it right before we started this up. I'm 2-1 in my current arena run.
Ooh,
I've got this interesting Beast Hunter deck. Am I the only one who feels that for some reason, somehow, CCGs, be they IRL, like actual paper cards, or online through like Magic Online or what have you, are just somehow even one step above regular nerddom? Just like, you can play like 80 hours of video games a week and feel no shame, but the minute you talk about playing maybe like Hearthstone or Magic or something, there's a little twinge of shit. People are going to make fun of me.
Yeah, it's like playing video games, watching anime, playing a CCG, and then LARPing. LARPing's at the top. LARPing community, I love you. But
My God, you're just easy fodder.
yeah, there's
Like,
too
I
many.
mean-
There's too many Fireball videos out there.
Like, I know people who LARP, and, you know, it's fine, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yes, they are one of those games, but it's a fun game, to be fair. You know, there's a lot of flashing colors, there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's little new that I can say about Hearthstone that hasn't been said before, but it's got the Blizzard quality in terms of just production values and just attention to detail. It is an incredibly well-constructed game. The reason I actually got back into it is they finally released the Android tablet version, so
Yes,
I was playing that.
I was
as
very
well.
excited about that until I realized my 2-year-old tablet could not play it, and then I was sad.
Oh, so sad.
I considered. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was about to say, even on my, what is it, 2013, 2014 Nexus 7, I don't remember when the hell that last iteration came out, it's still a bit sluggish in places. So, basically, playing that with the kind of reduced quality or play experience, basically just made me get up, walk 3 steps, and sit down in my chair, play it on the computer.
That's fair.
To be fair, you're also living in a one-bedroom apartment.
I am. Well, I'm renting a room and sharing a kitchen and bathroom. So, like, yeah, it's fairly presentable right now. Let's see. There's one wall. There's the other wall. And
Exactly.
that's my room.
Exactly. So, yeah, if you have the tablet, sure, you can play it on the tablet. That's cool. But if it's literally right there...
Basically, the only difference is I can't play this lying down.
Well...
Actually, I could. I do have a wireless keyboard.
Exactly. You're fine. You can totally do it. So, have you been playing the new DLC then?
Like the Naxxramas? Or, no, sorry, the Gnomes versus Goblins expansion thing. It's not really quite traditional DLC. It's actually much more similar to Magic in that it is, in addition, it's meant to be played in conjunction with the original set, not separately or standalone. So, cards of that set have made their way into my decks, but I can't say I've gone out of my way terribly to experiment with the new editions. Mostly just because I'm not willing to invest the money it would take to have a good, stable of new cards.
Well, I think the way that they have handled it now is that if you do an arena run, the guaranteed pack that you get from that is a Goblins vs. Gnomes pack.
Yeah.
Which is cool, unless you're like me, who doesn't have all the base card sets. So
I felt the exact same way. I've done a couple arena runs since it came out, and I think I don't want these cards. I want all the other cards still.
Yeah.
It's annoying my OCD completionist.
Yeah. No, right there with you. Right there with you. And then you get stomped by a fucking entire mech deck, and it's like, all right, maybe I should get some of those new cards.
Yeah, I've ran into a couple of those. They're interesting. They don't actually. My biggest complaint. I played Magic for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and my biggest complaint so far with all my experience in Hearthstone is that it never feels quite like Magic did in regards to deck archetypes, I guess. It never feels like, in Magic, playing a red deck is like miles different from playing a green deck, from playing a black deck, from playing a blue deck, much less when you start mixing colors. Whereas Hearthstone still feels kind of like dudes spells, and there's very little kind of flavor or I guess very little personality that kind of differentiates one play style from another. It's all kind of this mush of just dudes who make other dudes and dudes who make other dudes bigger, and then like bird spells.
Well, the reason behind that I think is kind of twofold. One, Magic doesn't have the big... Okay, they have artifacts, but they don't really have the big colorless pool that Hearthstone has. And a lot of the best cards are those neutral minions, right? And the other problem is that... or not problem, the other difference is that Magic relies a lot more heavily on spells, and the spells are a lot more powerful, and they can do more varied things. Whereas in Hearthstone, it's definitely a creature-focused game. It's about minions on the board as opposed to spells in the hand, especially with the low ceiling for card numbers.
Especially with the inability to act on the opponent's turn. That like eliminates half of the cards out of Magic or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. It is a good game to spend 10 minutes playing. It is a good game to spend 5 hours playing, and that, I suppose, is its biggest strength in my book. I can, no matter how much time or what mood I'm in, I can probably get Hearthstone to make me feel happy about my life.
I think a few years ago when they announced it at BlizzCon, nobody sitting in the audience that day would have imagined that Hearthstone would be as big or as good as it is today. Because I remember there was a lot of controversy where they were expecting a new game. I think the big news at the time was, oh, maybe this will be StarCraft Ghost. Maybe this will be StarCraft Ghost. And then, hey guys, we made a card game. And everyone's like, what?
Half the audience was just politely puzzled, the other half was just rabidly angry. Nobody was quite sure what to think. But you're right, it was incredibly out of left field. I mean, admittedly, it was kind of this backroom project of theirs that, like, 6 guys or something just kind of built out of nothing on their spare time, and has since turned into a fairly respectable game, for lack of a better term. It's
for lack of a better term, it's a game.
For lack of a better term, it is a game, folks. Yeah, it's
video games.
I don't know. Hearthstone is Hearthstone. I'm happy with what it's doing to me right now, which is more than I can say about Magic at the end.
Yeah, because Magic just puts you into debt. Massive amounts of debt.
Yeah.
Do you
Anyway,
guys
Vance, you
think that over the past few years there's been more of a movement towards games as almost, say, service platforms as opposed to just primarily games? Like when I'm talking about a service platform, I'm talking about Hearthstone, where the game is a lot about playing the game, but it's also about, you know, collecting cards, building decks. The game itself is very much about the meta. Also in League of Legends.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like the MOBA style is also very reminiscent of that, and it seems like, I don't know, to me these games seem different than, well, as a simplistic response, like Mario, you know?
Well, you bought Mario and then you owned all of Mario. It's
yeah.
I think what a lot of what you're saying has its roots in the I guess growing trend of, well, grown trend at this point. It's not growing, it's here. The trend of them releasing a product and having the tail of that product last for as long as they can make it. Through DLC, through, you know, skins, whatever the hell it is, whatever the hell game it's based around. But yeah, it's very much you are investing into a thing, not you are buying a thing. I almost would think that's kind of started with MMOs, kind of like WoW and what have you, were kind of the predecessors.
Especially when you think back, like to the fact that WoW is like 10 years old now, which is ridiculous. But even League of Legends is, I think, going on 7 or 8 years old. Like,
jeez. I'd have to.
League of
Brennan
Legends
would be the guy to ask, because Brennan played in the beta.
Really?
I think Brennan was in beta.
That's insane.
Okay, so the initial release date was 2009. I wonder when it entered beta. That's another tricky thing about stuff these days, is there's the launch date, and then there's
when you can start playing it and when it's released.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Battlefield 3 beta that made me never play Battlefield ever again. Back when I was playing EA games.
Yeah, well, Battlefield is one of the few remaining EA series that is relatively decent about 8 months after release.
Yeah. I don't know. Bad Company 2 was really good when it came out.
I really hope they're making another Bad Company. Like, I know they've got that weird cops and robbers / urban battlefield thing going, but I really hope the next one isn't another numbered Battlefield. I really hope the next one is another Bad Company entry.
See, it's weird. Bad Company 2 is the last time I remember anybody getting really passionate about a Battlefield game.
Like, above and beyond just the kind of baseline, I play Battlefield, thus I am somewhat excited that a new Battlefield is coming out, like rabid, holy shit, this is big and different. Yeah, you're right.
What I've never heard is, oh man, we should go back and play some Battlefield 3. That game was super awesome. However,
that's because Battlefield 4 does everything Battlefield 3 did.
Yeah, but there's still tons of people who go back and play Battlefield Bad Company 2.
That's because it did nothing that any other Battlefield had done other than the previous Bad Company.
Yeah, it was solid. The story was great. The multiplayer was incredible.
It had character.
It did have character. It sounded great. Like, everything about that game just made me feel warm and fuzzy. And I absolutely hate saying that because it's an EA game, but the fact of the matter is, like, well, one, when they were recording all their dialogue, everybody was in the same room. So they had that vibe going as group of people would. It's not like this person comes in, records their lines, and this person comes in, records their lines, and then they come
4
together.
months later, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they are riffing off each other, and that's why the lines are so fucking funny. Like,
yeah, it isn't necessary for good voice acting, but it definitely helps.
I would say that there's a lot less instances of bad voice acting where it was done in a group than there is where it was done solo. Admittedly, it's a much lower fraction, considering like maybe 20% of the games do that. I don't know.
Actually, I was just
it's
thinking about
very
that.
few.
I don't know how you'd go about figuring out that information.
Yeah. Other than it having been released for the public.
Yeah, other than like behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
I would say 20% would be an enormously high number.
Probably, actually, you're right.
Because I mean, thinking about like the number of different studios out there who can afford voice acting, for one, and then two, be able to afford it all at the same time. Like, this is like super AAA,
Like
super
2.5 have good voice actors.
having good voice actors. I mean, no discredit to anyone else that's out there and trying to make a name for themselves, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, having 4 people in a room that are really good at what they do, it works.
4 people or 1 Troy Baker.
Yeah. One Troy Baker just talking to himself in a mirror. Several mirrors.
Happened.
Oh man, Troy Baker was on a podcast that I listened to, the Colin and Greg Live, and that man is really cool. he's got his shit on lock. And like he actually super cares about the games, and just like you can tell he's actually invested in the things that he makes, which is cool. It's definitely not the case for everyone.
Do you know who I'd like to hear in gaming? Mike Rowe.
Mike Rowe.
Mike Rowe?
Yeah, Dirty Jobs guy.
He's got a good voice.
Jeez. I'm sorry, I don't have. Like Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Airs after Mythbusters. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got an amazing voice, but like, I don't know, he's funny too, so he could really work off stuff. I think he would be awesome at it, like really good.
I have nothing to add to that conversation. I do not know.
The big problem is him doing a commercial is going to be substantially less time and probably get him substantially more money than recording for video games.
Yeah, that's the thing.
From what I've heard, it is not the most lucrative career option.
Well, there's a reason why if you look at the IMDb page of somebody like Nolan North or Troy Baker or Jennifer I was about to say Jennifer Aniston. That is not the right name. Jennifer Hale. There is, between all the Mass Effects, there's Barbie Dreamhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or, what the hell is his name? Oh, fuck, I can't remember his name, but he's in everything. Like, literally everything.
Nolan North, Troy Baker, Steve Bloom?
No, I gotta look him up.
Steve
for video games? I don't know.
He played Vlad in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, he did. He's Samurai Jack guy.
Phil Lamar. Yeah. Phil Lamar, yeah. He's in everything, man.
Jeez, why didn't you just say Samurai Jack?
Because I forgot.
Could have got there from there.
Yeah, but I also don't watch anime.
Wait, it is
American anime.
Yeah, I guess. What the hell is the
classify those together?
Come at me, bro.
It's weird that I associate him with Samurai Jack, though, considering I think he was only Samurai Jack's voice in one episode. In the first episode.
I thought he was the all the way through.
Well, Samurai Jack doesn't really have lines all the way through.
Well, I mean, there are episodes where he is actually entirely silent, but he does talk.
He played Ratbag in Middle-earth.
He plays Green Lantern in most of the old Justice League cartoons. Phil Lamar is very prolific. Oh, you know what? My apologies. Samurai Jack in 48 episodes is Phil Lamar.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's gone beyond the point where it's interesting to talk about this, but what the hell was the name of the guy who developed it, because it is not Japanese whatsoever. It sounds Eastern European. This is good television, folks.
Yes, it is. I'm gonna let Vance do that.
Oh yeah, Gennady. Where is it? Gennady Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not Japanese.
Gennady Tartakovsky.
Russian-born American animator. Oh, who's doing the racial stereotypes now?
While we're on the subject of voice acting, I don't know if you guys heard of a game called Freedom Planet. Came out a month ago.
No.
Basically, it's Sonic. It's Sonic.
Oh.
But it actually looks very competent. I've seen some Let's Plays of it, and it looks like a really solid game. One of the reasons I bring it up, though, is apparently it's entirely voice acted, and apparently it's entirely voice acted by indie voice actors. That like everybody knew everybody from forum boards and stuff like that. And
That's interesting.
It's really spot on animation or voice acting, which you don't always get with indie voice acting.
No, you don't.
There's a lot of times you hear voice acting and you're like, oh, this is why there's professional people who do this. But this game is not one of those examples. This game has very good voice acting.
Do you have any idea if video game voice acting falls under like the Actors Guild in the States?
I was actually just listening to stuff like that. So in some cases, yes, and in some cases, no. In some cases, video game voice actors or video game companies actually purposefully do not hire SAG actors because I think it's still SAG if it's voice acting, but because they have to pay a certain amount more and they need to give certain amounts of credits and the like. I actually learned that Steve Bloom, who is very prolific in especially like dubbed anime and American. Well, I know him a lot from American cartoons. Apparently, he worked for a long period of time under two names. One was his guild. One was his name in the guild, and the other was his name non-affiliated. And so he'd be credited for those two different ways. And so it was only when he started gaining popularity that he could make enough money that he could just use Steve Bloom.
Huh. Holy crap, that man has been in a lot of things.
Steve Bloom? Oh, God, yes. You ever want to see a good one? Search Frank Welker.
Frank?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of his... Oh, what is... He's got all sorts of...
He is everything. To give you a bit of perspective about his range, he is in Aladdin. He is both Abu the monkey and the Cave of Wonders.
He's also Inspector Gadget.
Yes, Dr. Claw. And he's Fred from Scooby-Doo. That's his like natural speaking voice.
Huh.
Oh man, if you want to talk voice acting, I could talk voice acting for hours. I love voice acting.
But we're not going to.
Holy shit, Steve Bloom was in Full Throttle. He was Sid. Jesus, I should go back and play Full Throttle. I haven't played Full Throttle in like 10 years.
So how about them video games, folks?
That was a video game. Full Throttle was a video game. It was like a formative video game. It was the game that introduced me to GameFAQs.
Oh my god, GameFAQs. Fuck. Actually, you know what? I used GameFAQs recently, like in like the last 5 years. Like,
yeah, he was game fracking.
No,
trying to mine out all the useful information.
And then somehow your sink light's on fire.
Yeah, this is no. Anyway, I was playing Final Fantasy 1 on my old phone, and yeah, that it did not act like it didn't age well at all, and it was just like I want to get from point A to point B. It's like I'm going around the world, and where the fuck is it, and where do I go, and what do I do, and yeah.
Game Boy Advance. If you ever want to play through Final Fantasy 1 and 2, get the versions for Game Boy Advance. They basically rehauled the game, and instead of mages being on the D&D like spells per day system, they are on an actual mana point system. Just it makes the whole experience a lot more tolerable.
Yeah, that's definitely a word. Yeah, Because I mean, it just was not like as someone who's played more modern games, and I know like old games never really held your hand. It's like you don't go in this direction, and that's fine. Like, but I was so fucking tired of it. And I was like, I don't give a shit. Just tell me where to go. Like, I don't even care if like an arrow or like just like
Yeah.
anything. Like, be like go to this town. Like, you don't even have to put it on the map. Like, I'll just figure it out.
Yeah. And some of that shit is like obscure too. Like it's not easy to figure out.
Oh god,
Just
yeah.
a little,
It was fucking bad.
just a little blast from the past. Game Boy Advance retail availability, retail availability, 2001.
That is
Wow.
surprisingly
Decade
late.
Huh.
I internally I always thought the Game Boy Advance was like a mid '90s thing. I guess not.
Nope, that was Game Boy Color.
Huh. Because I know I started at Game Boy Color. I'm pretty sure I did anyway.
My older siblings had a Game Boy that I played, and I vividly remember, for whatever reason, taking a bottle cap and purposefully scratching up the screen. Not maliciously, just because I was like 4.
I
and found the bottle
understand.
cap.
I understand that entirely. The TV I first knew growing up has had, I suppose, multiple dings in it where I was just tossing a glass marble at it.
Yeah,
It's fucking.
just, because you could, because you were dumb.
Yeah, because I did not know better. Nor did I understand that inside of that thing was an immense vacuum.
Yeah.
Not only an immense vacuum, but also like radiation.
Oh, I still don't care about radiation.
I know, but you should.
The cigarettes are going to kill me long before the rads do.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway,
I'm gonna
video
be
games.
so cool on my deathbed.
You'll be the coolest. Leather jacket, smoke hanging out, just like that.
Emphysema.
Yeah, that's the coolest.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
And then
we've
you have
talked
the
about
tape
like
out of
one
the hole.
video game so far.
All right, so I'm gonna take the floor and just say Geometry Wars 3, because holy shit, Geometry Wars 3 is intense.
Is
Yeah.
it good though?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Heroin is intense. Not necessarily good.
that is true. That is true. But yeah, it's definitely there is a bit of a learning curve because when you're playing the regular game, like 1 or 2, you got the grid, but sometimes the grid will be twisted, and that actually leads to a very cool effect. But sometimes you're on a pill like this, and the camera doesn't necessarily go where you want it to go, and it's like, okay, I'm going to go around this corner. Oh fuck! And then you gotta go back, and then you die, and yeah, there's a lot of there are a lot of really hectic, really crazy situations that you end up getting into just because the camera isn't like fixed on you all the time. It's more like, say for example, there's a cube, 6-sided die. You're on one face of the cube. The camera is looking at that side of the cube, not over where you are. So it's not like this constantly rotating thing where you have a bit of perspective. It's like, okay, you get to the end and it's like, flip! I'm like, shit, fuck, what? Oh, I didn't
While
see that.
simultaneously enemies could potentially be spawning on any of the blind sides.
Exactly.
Reminds me
Which-
of early
I thought they fixed
3D
this-
platforming games.
I was gonna say, wasn't this Metal Gear Solid 2 problem? Hasn't
Yes.
this been solved by now?
Mostly. But yeah, it's still a good game. It's a lot of fun, and they've added they've added 2 things: drones that follow you and do stuff, and then
Like
Very
spy on
solid.
you launch Hellfire missiles into masses of civilians?
and deliver Amazon packages.
Okay. So drones.
Yeah. No, you get like there's one that'll shoot extra for you. There was another one that'll pick up the multiplier crystals for you. I haven't seen what the rest do yet, so I'll let you know. But and then you also get an extra special because you've got the bomb. They'll blow up shit. But you've also got like homing missiles where you can leave mines or stuff along those lines. So
It
Sorry,
seems fairly...
I was laughing because my cat has now climbed up on my desk, and occasionally his tail would just completely block out my camera.
Nice.
This is what you get for having cats. Sorry, this is what cats get for having you.
That too. Yeah, fuzzy roommates and stuff.
I don't know. So far, this sounds fairly iterative. Wow, kitty. Yeah, this again seems like more Geometry Wars.
It is. It is totally more Geometry Wars, and that's okay. Like, I'm totally cool with this because it's bigger, it's brighter, there's more happening, there's shinier things, and honestly, there's nothing better to get messed up and play. Like, just because there's shit going on all the time.
Sorry. Is it possible for Geometry Wars to be brighter other than just a blank white screen? Like, the first one was fairly, let's say, flavorful.
Well, it's
not
not
a good word to use.
It was robust with hints of cinnamon. No, it was.
And undernotes of coriander. God.
It's less about being brighter color-wise and light-wise, and more having an effect on the world. Because, like, with the first,
Are
it
we
was
talking like Pokemon pre or post seizure episode?
seizure, during.
Okay.
During.
Like, you're having the seizure right now. Like,
It was all a dream.
to put it in perspective, it's like episode like retro evolved. Go with the first one, which isn't really the first one, but whatever. There was a lot of bright lights, a lot of stuff going on, and it was somewhat heavy. You go on the second one, and that was there was a lot of waves happening. There's a lot of light, a lot of effect, and a lot of post processing, and that made it really intense. The third one, especially because it's not just a flat grid, like you can play on a flat grid, but there was also all these different shapes. But say, for example, the black hole thing that sucks up stuff, like that, like takes a part of a world and like sucks it in, and it's like the
You mean
world
my girlfriend? I don't know if
Yes.
she has a girlfriend.
But anyway, like it all gets like devoured, and it's like the world transforms a lot more. Like just an enemy being present will cause a bit of a divot, so it's like the world is malleable.
It's almost as if it exists on one of those kind of grid planes that are meant to represent the effects large masses have on gravity.
Yes. Yeah, actually that'd be similar. And then, throw in the light show that Geometry Wars always does. Lots of explosions, lots of particle effects, lots of after effects, lots of post-processing, lots of bloom. Like, it's intense.
Steve Bloom.
Yes, Steve
No,
Bloom.
Buscemi. Get over it.
He's
But
just
yes.
kind of funny looking,
Again, that was
Fargo reference.
borderline
Those-
racial Chinese.
Well, that was Minnesota.
Oh God.
We need to spend more time in Minnesota.
Yeah, let's not.
Anyway. That's like Newfie via Hong Kong.
Oh no!
So we're
You
gonna
gotta go down to Minnesota where they got all the snow,
So I'm just gonna keep talking and not let Vance talk.
Yeah, okay, just mute both of us. We can read each other's lips. It'll be fine.
It's still racist. No. So in a lo-fi alternative, we were also playing Particle Maze on Wednesday.
Yeah, I saw that. I scanned through that video. I'd been meaning to load that up. I got a code for it a couple days ago, but have not yet experienced the gravitational tractor beam flinginess of it.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, who didn't see the videos that we posted,
Obviously, stop this and go watch that video.
Yeah, probably, because it's probably more entertaining. But anyway, it's like Geometry Wars, except one, it's lo-fi, relatively speaking. Two, instead of a weapon like a gun that you have in the Geometry Wars, you have a bunch of stuff, particles behind you on tethers that you use to fling around and hit stuff. And it's a lot of fun. We made a lot of ball jokes, like a lot of ball jokes.
As you do.
As you do. And yeah, I really like it, but I think having more players would be the best way to play it.
Like cooperatively or competitively?
Both.
Okay, fair enough. Because well, it is
and
both of those, is it not?
It is, yeah. And we played every mode that we could, and yeah, co-op was a lot of fun. Competitive was fun, but one-sided because I kicked his ass every time.
To be fair, Brendan is bad at video games.
Relatively speaking, anyway. I'm
No,
pretty
just
good.
absolutely. Like, empirically, he's bad at video games. I'm okay with saying this because he probably won't see this. And if he does, I'm 1,600 kilometers away.
Yeah, well, I'm like 12, and yeah, he is bad, and he should feel bad. But yeah, so I mean, I think having 4 people and playing some of the multiplayer modes would be a lot of fun because you have fighting each other and going and swinging the maces and hitting each other with them, and the various different types of ships, which thankfully in multiplayer come all unlocked, so you can just go, which is awesome. Oh my god! But anyway,
what's the differences between ships?
You got different speeds, so there's like a regular. You got the regular one, regular tether length. Then you got a fast one that has like really fast speed, but it's a longer tether. Then you have a big heavy one that's slower, but has massive balls behind it. Then you have, yeah, it does. But then you have like the jelly, which is like a constant grid of balls, as opposed to ones that like will tighten up because you're applying gravity as you're swinging them, right? And
centripetal force.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So you're applying that force, which will typically gather the particles together, whereas with the jelly, they keep their grid. So it's like instead of this little tiny thing going around flying, it's like this chunk, and it's a lot more effective, but you're a lot slower. And then there's like one with a shield, and then there's one called Hyper where you can't stop. And that one's very difficult, especially on the asteroid level, because there are 3 modes in the main player. Well, actually, even in co-op, you've got easy, which is not actually that easy, hard, which is hard, and then you've got asteroids, which just fills the screen full of asteroids, and it's like, good luck, have fun.
Fair enough.
It's a good time, but like I said, it comes out on early access on the 23rd, and I'm pretty excited to see where it goes because I like the concept. I like how it plays right now. I'd like to see more stuff out of it just because I like it and I want more stuff out of it.
Would you add it to your stable of local couch co-op games?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, it's definitely in there.
Kind of like below Samurai Gun, above. I'm trying to think of another. This is what happens. I have no friends to play video games with anymore. I can't remember what the hell people do on a couch. Also, I haven't sat on a couch in a long time.
Mine is there, to be fair.
I saw him. Okay, I played a little bit of Framed with him, like, Tuesday.
Ooh, Framed. I want to play Framed.
Yeah,
I still haven't played it yet.
It's good. Like, it was good at PAX, and it hasn't gotten any worse. In fact, it's arguably gotten better.
I would expect that, when a game comes to release.
Vance, sorry, I want to get your input on here. Just, this is not really game-related immediately, but is it my imagination, or does that hat on Thompson look like it was designed for a man, like, 60 pounds heavier, or at least with a much larger head?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
See,
totally.
When you started that question, I definitely thought you were going to go with is that totally not the hat from Pokemon?
Oh, well, that too.
Of course it is. There's no real that it can say whatever it wants. That doesn't change what it is.
That's what's bugging me about it. It's if you look at the camera in a certain way, it's doing this weird perspective thing in my brain where it looks like the hat is closer than his head.
Space in between the hat and his actual head.
Yeah, it's making it appear as if his head is farther away than the hat is.
It's like this. It's a big hat. It's a big hat. It's a one-size-fits-all. So I mean, you can see it's a trucker hat, right?
Yeah, it'd be fair. Yeah.
Oh, it could also be because he has it linked all the way out as he physically possibly can.
Except there are 2 dots.
Also, your hair is terrible.
Weird.
My hair is terrible because I came from the gym. And
Your
I
hair
nearly
came from
died.
the gym?
My hair did come from the gym. Also, the rest of me.
Okay.
And I nearly died.
I came
it was
from my
excellent.
mom.
I came from my mom and my dad because I'm not a freak of science.
No, I was immaculately conceived.
Well, that happened. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Games. God, where the hell did the games go?
Vance,
Actually, there's
go.
a game. Yeah, Vance, you should talk about video games instead of just
Okay.
staring off into space.
So you remember about a month ago, I was on the cutting edge of things, playing Dragon Age Origin. Yeah, new games. Yeah. So now I've started The Witcher 2. So I'm, still super up to date. At least this one's less old. So I've been playing
good,
that
though.
for the past week.
Good
It's
and
really
equally obscure / mechanically weird.
Okay, quick diversion. Alex, I know you played both The Witcher 1 and 2, right?
Yes. I've beaten
How-
neither of them.
Well, of course you haven't. But how do they compare, like, control-wise? Like, would one be better than the other to start with?
That's an interesting. There's an interesting answer to that in that The Witcher 2 is easier now, although that wasn't always the case, because post-release they did a massive, 2 GB patch or something where they completely redid the opening tutorial and whatnot of the game because it was incredibly vague and obscure as to what the hell they wanted you to do and how it was supposed to operate. So now, if only through the clarity of instruction, number 2 I find is easier to go back to.
Well,
That
hang on
being
a second.
said, yeah,
They didn't have the tutorial before?
they did. It was just like it explained 35-40% of how combat worked. It explained 20% of how potions worked. It explained 30% of what the different swords did. It was incredibly difficult to follow.
Yeah, it's already kind of difficult to follow.
Yeah. And this
You
is
know how
Witcher
most
2,
games
mind
you
you, not
start
1.
off as this weak dude and then slowly build up your powers throughout the course? Yeah, no. In The Witcher, it's like, hey, you're a badass motherfucker. Hope you know what to do with that. Fight some
I hope
beasts.
you too have undergone the many trials and tribulations that are required to make yourself a Witcher, because we're sure as fuck not going to tell you what happened.
You know, I'd almost love a game where it's like, you have all this backstory explained to you, where you have the main character, all the heroic things that they did, and all the amazing quests that they went on and did, and how powerful this person is, and then it's like go, and it's actually like a physics simulator, and it's like, just like
flop.
You literally don't know how to walk. Like, you've gone through and you've done all these amazing things, and it's like, okay, and you can do those amazing things if you can figure out how to walk and how to use my arm.
That would be an interesting, almost like a game jam opportunity where the first half of it is the usual power fantasy, but halfway through whatever the game is, you somehow get crippled and then have to spend 12 months in rehab learning how to walk again.
It turns into Octodad every time you get hit upside the head significantly hard enough.
I would pay for that.
That's legitimately not actually. That is actually kind of a cool idea for a game jam.
I'd ship it.
A crappy physics simulator from a game jam? I've never heard of it before.
Boo.
Anyway,
So
sorry,
I'm
Witcher.
in Witcher 2.
Yeah.
Quick thing. So I watched a friend go through the first surgery in Surgeon Simulator a couple nights ago, on Twitch, and it was their first time through it, so I was I was watching them, and I didn't want to backseat too much on Twitch, because that's, not really a cool thing to do, but it was okay, so you have to cut, you have to cut out the esophagus, and then you have to do this, and it was oh my god, they're bleeding everywhere, and oh my god, and freaking out. It was I love that game. I love that game so much.
I have not used it basically at all since, but that almost justified buying Eraser Hydra, that game.
Oh, absolutely. And that has really good support with Oculus Rift, so...
I believe it, yeah. Oh, man, once there's actually a commercial version of the Oculus, I'm totally going back to Surgeon Simulator with the Hydra and Oculus.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Witcher. Go, Vance.
Witcher.
So I'm about 2 hours into the game now? 3 hours into the game now?
Oh,
just kind of
so
started.
You're about halfway through the tutorial.
I'm into chapter 1.
Okay.
Yeah, when that game tells you, hey, you should probably play this game on easy, you should probably play it on easy.
Yeah.
Because normal is pretty, it's kind of tough.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember it cuts almost completely negates mechanics depending on the difficulty. Like you can just ignore potions on easy, whereas they are instrumental to everything on the harder difficulties.
That's actually one of the things that I'm really digging about it, though, is like I've accepted my first kind of big wave of quests, and like the first part of the quest is, hey, you need to go hunt these things. You should go buy a book so you know what the fuck they are and how to kill them. And then you do that, and you're like, oh, this makes sense. And then it's like, hey, you should make some potions to combat these things.
You should sit down on the ground.
Yeah.
Is that
it's a very cool. It's a power fantasy, but not like you're a superhuman power fantasy. It's like you're a guy who's a little bit stronger and a little bit smarter than most other people, but you still need to prep the fuck out of yourself before you can do tons of cool shit.
Yeah, it's the Sarah Connor versus the Terminator. You're Sarah Connor, whereas more often than not, you are the Terminator.
Yeah.
This is what I do with these podcasts. I make weird analogies.
And that's why we love you.
So other than The Witcher 2, in my spare time on coffee breaks at work, I've been slowly making my way through the Phoenix Wright trilogy that came out for 3DS on the Nintendo eShop. Basically, they took the entirety of the first 3 games of the Phoenix Wright series, bundled them together, and said, here, you can download it to your 3DS. And I've been having a lot of fun with them.
Have you been yelling? Please tell me you've been yelling.
No, because I'm at work. But I want
more
to.
reason.
In my heart, I yelled.
Okay.
But they got. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. They got some issues, like navigation in this part that I'm at. It's frustrating. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Now, are these game issues or like handheld issues?
Game issues.
Okay, yeah.
It's like to navigate to a place, you have to go through like 5 different areas of go here, now move, go here, now move, rather than just having one big list of everywhere that you can go. It's a little bit tedious, which is frustrating, but the writing definitely makes it worthwhile in the end. Very cleverly written, very enjoyable, very silly, and quite a decent point-and-click adventure game that even somebody who doesn't really like point-and-click adventure games has enjoyed.
I have a perfect segue for that if you're done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
It's
I
not
started
a
playing...
segue if you say it's a segue, my friend.
Well, too bad, deal with it. I've been playing 80 Days, and it's fantastic. Do you know what 80 Days is?
I just thought I'd nod and look worldly.
So, oh, the irony of that.
Oh, yes, actually, I do.
Yeah,
that's
it's
around
the world in 80 days, essentially.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's his face?
What's the name? I can't remember. I'm not a book person.
On your phone or tablet?
Total
I've got
Biscuit
my
was
phone.
talking about it.
Okay.
So I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, I could play it on a tablet if I could find a tablet, but I don't have one. So, but it's on my Android phone, so it's like, hey. Actually, I saw one of my friends playing it, and it was like, okay, yes, I will play this. I put it on my like Google wish list, which is apparently a thing. I don't know, but yeah, so I picked it up, and yeah, it's really, really good. It's insanely well written, and the decisions you make have some impact, which like it doesn't necessarily spell out what kind of impact it has, but it definitely feels like, well, everything is just so well constructed and it's so well written. And considering it's pretty much all writing, aside from, the odd.
Lay the foundation. What is the game and how does it work?
Okay, so you are a Frenchman who is essentially a servant of a Englishman who has made a bet of £20,000 in 18 something or other that he can get around the world in 80 days. So he comes up to you and say, "Hey, we're going around the world," and then you leave. And by having conversations with people, looking at maps, well, buying maps, and then looking at them, you decide which routes to take, how to, what to carry, like if there's anything that's really well worth taking, and if it's worth selling later on, and then it's just decisions along the way and story and narrative that fleshes the world out. So it's like, what is going on? Flush money. Yeah.
Sorry.
The entire point of doing that in text off to the side was not to interrupt your entire explanation.
Yeah, but then I saw it, and then I was like, what the fuck's going on?
So, apparently 80 Days was also a Match 3 Bejeweled style game.
Yep, that's
all I am getting images for when I research it.
It was what?
Yeah.
No. That is not at all what this game is about. But anyway, I said,
it kind of is.
Well, no, it isn't. But anyway, it's all about keeping your master happy and healthy, having a good, maintaining a good relationship with them, or with him, I guess, and having this grand adventure and hopefully making it back to London in 80 days. And I did it on.
Can you fail that?
Yes, you can. There was one point where I lost my master. What happened was I was in. I was in Manila, and
like the envelope.
Like the envelope. Yes. And I went into this bar with this guy who apparently turned out to be some sort of detective, and he was looking for my master. And it was actually this opium bar, and he fed me drinks.
It's called a den.
Opium den. He was feeding me drinks of gin. I got really messed up. He handed me a pipe. I was drunk, so I took it. And then I woke up on a blimp to Yokohama with no money. No money, no idea where my master was, no idea how to get home, just totally fucked. And then, so I joined the circus because apparently I'm really strong and athletic and stuff. I don't really understand. And then halfway...
No. You wake up on a blimp. That is the next logical step. I have no idea why anyone else would do anything differently. You just obviously go out and find the circus and join it.
How convenient that the Ringley brothers were also in Japan.
Yeah, it was a thing. But anyway, it happened. So, and then I was there, and all of a sudden I noticed my master. I run up to him, and it's like, "So," and he's like, "Yeah, well, we gotta go." I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Also, sir, I also now have an opium addiction.
Yeah, it was interesting, and that's not the worst bad thing that can happen to you. I was talking to my buddy, and he eventually got jailed for a week somewhere for doing bad things. I don't know what. He didn't explain.
Bringing opium into Singapore.
There's actually... Actually, that was the thing. Apparently, he was getting searched everywhere he went for some sort of contraband, because you can buy a whole bunch of items and then sell them later. Like, I bought a sword in Yokohama that sold in Burlington, of all places, for £3,100.
West Virginia?
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, he got searched. Apparently, he's had some shit on him that he wasn't supposed to have, and he went to jail for a week. And yeah, like there are bad things that can happen, and like running out of money is a real possibility. It happened to me. I lost all my money by the time I got to San Francisco.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a good game. It's a really fucking good game. It's not one that I would probably play too many times, but it's really good. It's worth the
It
money.
sounds like the kind of game I would go through once and then look up all the different permutations.
Actually,
yeah.
yeah, probably. I don't know. There are several routes that one would take, and I think they would make for a really interesting set of gameplay. Like, going down through Africa and then going across the southern seas, or like you can go up to
That's
the North
inefficient.
Pole. You can go up to the North Pole for a reason. I don't really know why. It's like through Svalbard.
Can you go around the world in a northerly or southerly direction? Because that'd be fun.
I don't know, and that's something I'd be curious about.
See, you guys, I got the power strategy. What you do is you go up to the North Pole, do a quick loop around the North Pole, and then just go straight back down the way you came.
Spirit of the law, letter of the law kind of thing, yeah.
Pro strats.
Those strats, ladies and gentlemen.
Neither of you have an iPhone or an iPad, do you? Because yeah, shit. I still want somebody to talk to you about Device 6 with, which is something similar. It is, again, a very text-heavy, interesting puzzle/thinking man's game on Apple devices. But I'll wait until I've got a good foil to bounce thoughts off of. But in the other thingy that was not me thinking of things to remember that I can't remember, how about that Witcher?
Well, while you try to remember that, since you guys are all talking about mobile games, I will talk about a mobile game that I got hopelessly addicted to, which is Puzzle Forge 2. Puzzle Forge 2 is a puzzle game for mobile devices, as you could probably tell from the name, where you play the village blacksmith. Yes, you play the village blacksmith, and your job is to craft pieces of equipment for random adventurers. You do this. You have what is called an ore gun, and it spits out little pieces of copper ore onto a table. And if you put 2 of these pieces of copper ore down, and then place a template, it makes that template. So you might make a handle, okay? And then if you make another handle and a blade, that's a spear. And it kind of forges it into a spear, and all of the tiles that you use to make the spear are now red hot. And so various people come to your establishment, and they're like, hey, could you make me some armor? So you make them some armor. Hey, can you make me this? Can you make me that? All of these things. And the trick is to keep your forge clean enough to know how to, or to be able to serve your customers. Because you don't actually get to pick what templates you served. So basically, you might eat up half of your board with templates that you don't need. And so it's kind of an interesting space management game. And it's very much, in the spirit of, if you fail, you don't really lose anything. You just lose your kind of streak. It's a points-based game. So you basically keep your forge operating for as long as you can. And, yeah.
It sounds like Resident Evil 4 Inventory the game.
Kind of is. It really is. And, yeah, it's a ton of fun and, like, shockingly addicting. Because
so was Resident Evil 4's Inventory, now that I think about it.
Yeah. But basically, because what'll happen is, so you'll have, you can also merge ores together. If you put down 3 copper ore, it makes an iron ore. And then if you have 2 iron ores, then you make an iron tool part. So people will come in, and they will ask for, I want a silver spear. Okay, well now you have to combine 3 pieces of iron ore together to make a silver ore, and then you got to do that twice. And so to make each piece of silver ore, you need 3 times the silver ore in copper or in iron, and then 3 times the iron in copper. So you can see how this, like, one piece would require an immense amount of space.
Oh.
And the other big thing is you can't pick stuff up and move it. So it's a very cool game. I highly recommend it. It's for Android and iOS. It's free. There are microtransactions, but you almost have to look for them to find them. It's not like, hey, you're out of money, you should spend more money. It's more like you go into a shop and they're like, there's a little button down at the bottom kind of hiding itself that's like, hey, here's how you buy some more money. So very good game. Very cool. Very addicting. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you're like, I'll just start the next day and just sell off these crappy pieces I have on my board, and then...
Okay, I was just going through my phone trying to remember what that game reminded me of. It's Triple Town meets Resident Evil Inventory Management.
Fuck yeah, okay. What's the name?
It's called Puzzle Forge 2.
Puzzle Forge 2. I'm going to look for that right now. Because the second you said Triple Town, you got me.
Anyway, the game I was trying to remember before we got onto Puzzle Forge, which I think I might actually look up too, because that sounds interesting, was Dangan Ronpa. I think you mentioned that earlier, didn't you, Vance? Yeah.
Yes, Dangan Ronpa. I've only played one.
Okay, I can't play any of them because I don't own any of the right systems. I really want to.
It's almost worth getting a Vita for. Actually, when I was talking about Phoenix Wright, if Alex hadn't come up with a good segue out of that, I would have mentioned that if you were looking for just one handheld-based visual novel-style game, Danganronpa is definitely the way you want to go.
I've heard it mentioned in multiple places, and everybody who talks about it is just confused/elated that it exists.
Yep. Not every day you have a murderous teddy bear antagonist.
I don't know. I guess if people really want to hear us gush about that game, it was the last one that all three of us were on that we talked about. It's about a month ago. But still, it is definitely, if you have a Vita and at all enjoy reading, I think that's definitely a game you should look up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though it's the second kind of point-and-click text-based adventure style game that I've mentioned, I will say I'm not really a fan of those style of games, but the way they do those games makes it very, very friendly. There's a button that you can press that just highlights all of the like interactable objects, and it's a really cool murder mystery. So, yeah, I would definitely check it out. A lot of fun. I don't think that there's multiple paths, so it's not going to have a ton of replayability, except to find out more about the different characters in the game.
Okay.
So, just as a heads up. But there is number 1 and number 2 out, and they're both very good. Very popular.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about one similar game just before we wrap up, and that's Dungeon Mans. And it's a roguelike where you go and kill things. It's similar in no way, shape, or form. And it's on the PC. But, yeah. So we did a Indie Wednesday on Dungeon Mans, Brendan and I. And it turned out that we both really, 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 really like it and are now, like, insanely addicted to it. I'd like to... Either of you play any roguelikes at any time?
I've played,
not
like roguelikes,
games
roguelike
that are like the game Rogue, no.
Okay. Yes, I'm talking games that are like Rogue. Alex?
Oh, I can't think of any off the top of my head, so let's just say no.
Not even like NetHack? Or,
Okay, I haven't played any in like the last 6 years that are like traditional roguelikes.
Fair enough. Okay, well, it's a roguelike, you know, you go through dungeons, kill stuff, but there are a lot of visual effects. The control system works really well. The graphics are really nice. It's all hand-drawn and pretty. You get a generated world that will upgrade as you play along. So, say for example, one of your heroes dies while raiding some people on the side of the road. Well, that person on the side of the road now has enough credibility to build a dungeon because they have killed a legendary Dungeon Mans. And also, everything is Dungeon Mans, and everything's really funny, depending on your, choice of humor.
This game just made me very happy because it's not in early access, and therefore I can get it.
Well, it used to be early access. It is out of early access now, and that's why we covered it.
So now I can spend money on it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. And actually, my favorite story, and I've got to tell this. I was going through a dungeon, and I managed to kill the dungeon leader. And then, while looting the dungeon leader's corpse, a random slime came over and killed me. Which then elevated that random slime from just some random slime to Chomp Clomp, the massive evil ruler of this dungeon, who had claimed many lives after which...
Kind of like the Shadows of Mordor Nemesis system.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like, and it's fantastic. I really, really like it. Speaking of which, I have Shadows of Mordor now, and I'm going to play it eventually. I don't know when.
Yeah, that's on my current backlog of about 15 games that I need to go back and either restart or finish.
Yeah, I will play it eventually. But anyway, Dungeon Man's, it's got a good sense of humor if you like silly stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It plays very quickly, and the skills are fun to use, and it's more turn-based action RPG, which doesn't make sense when it comes out of my mouth, but it is, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I think it's definitely worth picking up. So.
For those of you interested, it is currently $16.99 Canadian on Netflix.
Yeah, so it's like $15. Go buy it. Wait, did you just say Netflix?
I did. I was kind of hoping we weren't going to go back to that.
Yeah, so you just said Netflix.
So on Steam, which is slightly different
Netflix
than the video viewing platform Netflix. Yeah, I just called it a video viewing platform. I'm gonna go find a hole to hide in.
So that's been Face to Face Game Podcast episode 38. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye, everybody.
people. I hope this was worth